Peggy 18.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Graveayrd Keeper Game of Crone DLC. Now, based on what I was able to witness, thanks to especially the Halloween Steam sale, the DLC is now included in a bundle with the base game and the Stranger Sins DLC, so you can get it for quite a decent amount of money. I mean, it's not gonna actually break your wallet or anything like that, in case you are still wondering. Now, I have been reading your comments and I do not own any consoles. Hell, I don't even own a freaking TV in my apartment. But anyhow, I do not know at what times will the added content be added and if there will be any specific sale which you might participate in. Also, another thing which I kind of want to talk about and cover on this episode is the fact that like 2 episodes ago, we were talking to the cook in the refugee camp. I don't even know if she is displayed here. She is here. Okay, so I received a whole bunch of recipes from this lovely lady. As you can see, we obtained the lentils we trust, vegetable set, milk processing, and honey cake. And that was kind of it. I realized while I was rendering the footage that I'm such an idiot that I completely disregarded any information regarding these things, and I wanna go actually to the stove and take a look at what is required of you as a potential user / player to have prepared for some of these recipes, and what are the potential benefits from some of these dishes. Because if you go into the cooking, if you would, for example, create the lasagna or some of these other dishes, they give you specific boosts, such as you tire slower while you're chopping wood or stuff like that. So this is actually kind of important, and that is why I'm gonna try to locate all of the... Wow, I can actually burn the checks from Donkey. I'm gonna hold on to them just for the hell of it, but yeah. I do recall that the character said that they can be used as kindling, but I don't know, they have sentimental value for me, so whatever. So let's go take a look at the dishes and what do we require in order to make these dishes. So first of all, a bowl of lentils is an old recipe, but cabbage soup, I think cabbage soup is newly added dish. So you will require cabbage, beets, and onions. Okay? Hi there, it's me again, talking to you while I'm editing the footage. What a fourth wall breakage, huh? So anyhow, I kind of screwed up. The cabbage soup is actually an old recipe. They really did not kind of organize the recipes correctly or orderly for you to find out. And the only way in which you can currently compare which are the original meals, in case you are confused, is to go to Wiki page, to the cooking section. I'm going to leave you a link in the description. And there where you scroll down, you will be able to take a look at all that is currently available and has not yet been added with the Game of Crone DLC. So you will not see the fancy lentil soup and other dishes such as that, but for example, a bowl of pumpkin soup or a bowl of lentils and cabbage soup, pumpkin soup, veggie soup are all already pre-existing dishes from the game and all the currently existing DLCs, except of course, Game of Crone. Like I said on many occasions, even in the comment section, it's gonna take the devs behind the wiki to populate the wiki page with the information that you will require. Either if you are stuck on some of the quest line or whatever, like I said, the game keeps getting patches on a daily basis, so maybe it's gonna be fixed by the time you either see this episode or by the time I get to a specific issue or glitch or bug where people are getting stuck. So yeah, that's gonna be it, and let's get back to the episode in the meantime. Pumpkin soup is old. Vegetable soup, I'm not really sure if this is old. Creamy vegetable soup is definitely a newly added recipe. So for this we will require carrot, lentils, and pumpkins. Oh, okay, this one is a bit more heavier on the requirements for the recipe. Lentil porridge. Yeah, I was kind of wondering where are we getting the porridge from, because I mean, come on. So for this one you will require carrots, lentils, and onions. Fancy lentil soup requires onion, lentils, and water, so that's pretty simple. All things considered, you will be able to level this up eventually with the better quality produce. And then there is the vegetable stew. This one will require you to possess pumpkins, beets, and cabbage too. And then we have the cream of mushroom soup. Wow, this one actually requires you to have 6 edible mushrooms and a jug of milk. Now, the beautiful thing about this recipe is the fact that the refugees themselves are actually foraging edible mushrooms from the surrounding woods of the refugee camp. So you don't have to do this yourself. However, if you will decide to start a brand new save, what you will have to consider is the fact that when you start, the only possible source of energy for you at the start are berries and raw mushrooms. The way you can get access to the baked mushrooms is that you will need to go into the cellar and you will need to break apart the cracked old trunks and take a look at the sacks of whatever is located down there, and there will be actually a recipe. This one recipe, or the scroll with recipes, will give you access to stuff like baked apples and the baked mushrooms, and baked mushrooms will be a tremendous help, especially at the start of your adventure before you are able to provide yourself with things like carrots, cabbage, beets, and then eventually leveling up to pumpkins, lentils, and onions. But okay, I have talked about some of these dishes, right? Ooh, I totally forgot about the honey cake. For this you will require pastry dough and you will require honey. In order for you to get pastry dough, you will require flour, you will require a jug of milk, and you will require chicken egg. This is why I'm really interested to see, and this relates to the comments too, if by building the remaining beds for the refugee camp for farming, we will trigger the event which will allow us to somehow get the animals, and if we will be able to get the milk and the eggs directly from the refugee camp and bring it over here. Because don't forget, the 4 beds which you can utilize at the refugee camp are self-running farms. You don't need refugees for them to run, at least so far. I'm not really sure if anything has changed. The refugees will go and take a look at the farm, but they are not participating themselves in particular to do any of the work, such as weed extraction or just harvest of the crops. It's not like a freaking Stardew Valley, okay? So that is a difference, and basically what you can do is, if you do not have access to like a 12 white skull zombie, and it's gonna take you a while to fill in the tech tree for your alchemy in order to get all these necessary recipes, such as the silver injection, gold injection, acid, and other stuff which you will definitely require. What you can do is start to try and work on some of these farms and let the wheat grow over there. The biggest help from the wheat is the fact that yes, you can turn it into flour with combination with water, but also the fact that if you will want to participate in the Stranger Things DLC, this is your money maker. Down here in the cellar, You can have either zombies brew some beer for you by growing hops and having also wheat, or if you have access to the beehives and before you get the Okay, let's pretend that did not happen. And if you want to have the zombie winery or zombie brewery. So basically, if you don't want to make zombies brew your own stuff for you, actually through experimenting, I have figured out that the zombies are not as effective as you your own self. When I started the Stranger Sins DLC in particular, it took me forever to actually go from me doing everything and utilizing these zombies only for the logistics, so the shipping. I was brewing the alcohol, the mead, the beer, and the wine at a much faster pace in comparison to the zombies. Mostly because of the fact that I can just come to the wine press and start squeezing the hell out of the gold star quality grapes, and then I can just keep on loading up these barrels. So I don't have to rely on the zombies to do this stuff on their own. Now, as I can see, I am running out of honey and I'm totally out of wheat, so I will need to address this in order to turn more profit for myself, especially due to some of the quests which you were able to observe on the previous episode, as both the witch Clotho and the blacksmith Creswold requested 50 silvers for doing certain tasks, and that is actually quite the overkill. So, besides me just talking constantly about some of these things, what I want to definitely do is to supply this place with more stuff, but I want to actually go to my gardens, grab the cabbage, the carrots, pumpkins, lentils, onions, and I want to see what are the effects of these dishes. So what I'm gonna probably have to do here is skip quite a long time, because you can only cook a certain amount of quantities of these dishes at once, and therefore I'm gonna try to have them all prepared so we can go through the potential effects of these dishes and which ones should you try to prioritize in your playthrough potentially. So this video might actually have something useful for the viewer instead of me just talking nonsense constantly. Although it is my channel, and if you are new here, well then, yeah, sorry, I guess. So I'll talk to you once I have all these things with me, and I'm not really sure if you will want to see like the bronze star quality dish, the silver star quality dish, and the gold star quality dish. It makes quite a lot of sense actually to try to cover all of these dishes, just due to the fact that nobody will start with the gold star quality pumpkin. You will all start from the bronze star quality. So I'm gonna see what I can do, and once I have all these dishes prepared, I'm gonna talk to you guys. So stick around, enjoy the video, and with the power of editing, I will talk to you soon. Okay, so I have been cooking for God knows how long. I still don't know if I have all the recipes, but there is one more thing which I want to cover, except of the energy values and the benefits which you might get out of the dishes. Most of you might not even realize this, but if you go to the innkeeper or your main competitor, he is willing to buy certain dishes from you. Now, This is possible when you have access to some of the basic dishes. I do want to know if you can, however, sell some of these newly added dishes to the innkeeper and therefore create additional benefit out of the dishes in case you are just a completionist and want to create each and every individual dish which you can see that has been added. So for example, what I did was go to the refugee camp and I grabbed all the lentil cutlets. I mean all the lentil cutlets. And I want to see if, for example, lentil cutlets can be sold to the innkeeper. And for what potential value. Okay, so as you can see, they cannot be sold. And I want to know if we can do something else with these dishes. Now, as you can see, the silver quality lentils will give you circumspect. You get extra points when studying new items. This is actually really crucial thing, especially if we are talking about the blue points. Because we all know that getting the blue points is the most difficult thing to do, especially at the start of the game. Now, the biggest problem into which I ran here while cooking is the fact that you can only cook one of these dishes at a time. So it's extremely annoying, and the only way for me to find that you can utilize to expedite the cooking process or streamline it is to do one thing. And that one thing would involve you actually taking the dishes to your own tavern. Now, I have talked about this on many occasions, and if you are trying to play the Stranger Things DLC, what you will need to do in order to achieve certain achievements, in order to get the most happiness out of your people and more money, is apparently combine alcohol and certain dishes. Wiki page for Graveayrd Keeper has a specific list for each of the individual 4 events which you can create at your tavern. So for example, if we were to go to the Talking Skull, and if we were to take a look at these, you have the Graveyard Feast, the Comedy Stand-Up, Miss Charm Song, and Rat Races. The wiki page shows you exactly the dishes which are combined with some of these events in order to create even bigger happiness, and there are actually achievements which can be unlocked. Now, for some dumbass reason, the dishes just simply don't want to work at the tavern. I do not know if this is caused due to the fact that the save file which I used for the Stranger Things DLC is related to the fact that it was previously launched before the Stranger Things DLC has been announced. So, yeah, I mean, the game has received lots of in-game patches, so maybe if I would try to keep some of these lentil cutlets here, it would make sense. But the biggest problem is that if I will ever try to keep alcohol on these shelves, which are currently occupied by even some food, but the food is just never utilized, I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do here. So yeah, I'm gonna return back to my home and we will take a look at least at the energy levels. Then we're gonna try to go back to the Dead Horse Tavern and see if we can actually sell one of these dishes. And if not, we are gonna then move on to the refugee camp and try to expand it by building the additional beds for farming. I'm gonna be also upgrading them to the highest levels which they can be, and we will see if the cook will actually start to make dishes in larger variety, or if she's only capable of torturing the entire refugee camp and turning it into a gas chamber by giving everyone lentil cutlets. Because if I would eat this many lentils, I would be probably farting 24/7. Or like Jake Harper used to say, 31. So I'll talk to you in a few moments. So as you can see, these are the dishes which I have been cooking up. We have fancy lentil soup, honey cake, creamy vegetable soup, lentil porridge, lentil cutlets, cream of mushroom soup. It looks almost identical with the creamy vegetable soup. And yeah, I think that's about it. The biggest advantage in all of these dishes was the vegetable salad. Now let me show you why. The veggie salad is the only thing which you are making on your cooking table. So it takes only seconds to be made. In comparison to if you put something here to be cooked, it just takes forever, to be perfectly honest. And you cannot even like do a larger quantity of cooking at the same time. Only exception is the cream of mushroom soup, because whenever you are utilizing these basic components, and if it does not evolve anything with bronze, silver, or gold star quality, you can cook these in a bulk with like baked mushrooms, baked apples, bread. Things like this can be made all in a bulk. So let's go back to the dishes. I know I'm jumping all over the place, but I want to provide you with as much information as I potentially can so that you can see if any of these newly added dishes have any value for you if you are especially starting a brand new save file. And honestly, I don't think it would be actually even possible at this point to start a brand new game and just do, like, for example, Stranger Sins without the Game of Crone, or do the Game of Crone without the Stranger Sins. I would probably have to check if trying to launch a new game would give you option in, for example, games like Darkest Dungeon, where if you have multiple DLCs options, you can only select those which you want to have for that specific farmstead. So anyhow, let's take a look at least at the differences. I tried to organize it, but honestly, whenever like take apart these dishes or take them out, the game just does whatever it wants and throws them back in willy-nilly. And unfortunately, I wasn't even able to make some of the bronze star quality dishes due to the fact that my character is leveled up quite extensionally and has lots of these perks which allow him to like get few more things out of each thing, and so his cooking or wine making and other activities are a bit more advanced. But I'm actually thinking that all these dishes carry the same capabilities. So for example, veggie salad gives you 12 points of energy, and okay, so fancy lentil soup, even at the bronze star quality, will give you actually 20 points of energy, and the lentil porridge will only give you 14 points of energy. So I was thinking that actually all of these dishes would be at the same energy level, but there are some differences, especially with the fancy lentil soup. In comparison with like the bowl of lentils, it's definitely different thing. And if we keep gradually going up with the effects of this is, so the basic fancy lentil soup gives you 20 and circumspect. The silver star quality will give you 28 points energy and circumspect, and the gold star will give you 36 points of energy and the circumspect effect. Now, one thing which I have noticed is that all of these brand new dishes which involve anything like onions, lentils, pumpkins have the same effect except of the veggie salad. This will give you deep sleep, so basically you need to stay in your bed a lot less shorter and in order to regenerate energy. This can be a time saver, but you will still need to utilize the bed either here in your graveyard or by the quarry in order to save up your progress. And now I'm actually interested to see if I would take, I don't know, some of these dishes and try to bring them to the tavern or the innkeeper and try to sell them. And also, I do wonder if the wiki page will be updated to see if some of these newly added dishes would be required for you to have in order to get more out of the events which you can run at your own tavern, so the Talking Skull. Now, unfortunately, I keep monitoring the wiki so far, and I did not notice any of the newly added content popping up as of yet. It's gonna probably take like a week or so, and whenever I try to launch the game itself, it keeps getting small and small patches of like 56 megabytes. So currently we are sitting at version 1.303, I do believe, and the previous episode was 1.302, and when the DLC was launched it was 1.300. So you can see that the developer is constantly trying to patch up some of the glitches or issues which they might be aware of. Now, one advantage of you potentially selling some of these dishes, and why I want to actually take a look at this, is the fact that the Dead Horse Tavern is never closed. So whenever you would go there, you will always find the innkeeper being willing to either purchase the burial certificate or any of the dishes which you might have. And yeah, besides the base dishes like the toast or bread, I just cannot sell any of these newly added dishes. So I might potentially try to leave them in the refugee camp and see if the refugees will be happy that they have something else to eat instead of the goddamn lentil cutlets. I'm gonna be actually really interested to see during the daytime if the cook will start cooking something besides the lentil cutlets, because I gave them option to grow beets, cabbage, carrots, wheat, and pumpkins and onions too, and other stuff. So yeah, it's gonna just take me a while for the day to come up, so I'll talk to you guys in a short amount of time. Oh yeah, and one more thing which I wanted to ask you if you are playing the game and have seen a change in the well system. So for the past few days while I was recording the footage for the episode, before the Game of Crone DLC was released, whenever I tried to extract water out of this well, basically once I pulled out like 140 points of water, what happened was that the water started coming in like 2 droplets or 1 droplet. But now I'm able to just continuously keep pulling out water, and at one time I was able to grab like up to 500 or 400 points of water and just drop it off at the cellar of my home, and therefore dramatically increase the potential output of the beverages that might be brewed down here. So I wanted to ask you if any of you have actually noticed this change, and please let me know in the comment section. I just want to know if this is happening only to me, or if any of you have noticed this pleasant change too. It might be actually kind of interesting to see if any of you have noticed this, so please let me know. I'm gonna definitely appreciate it.
3 weeks later.
Okay, so we are currently at the refugee camp. Now, besides the cooking, of course, I was not obsessively just standing around and walking like a complete idiot in a place, trying to wait for these dishes to be finished. What I did also was stack up some of the resources which will be required in order to build those additional garden beds. And as I said on multiple occasions, whatever is related to construction being done here at the refugee camp will be featured here on the video. So what we are gonna do here, because we have the sufficient happiness, is build the additional 3 beds for farming. And now what I will do is also upgrade these farm beds to their full potential, so they can all grow gold star quality crops. Now for this, you will require for each farm individually 12 points of silver star quality fertilizer, 12 points or 12 units of gold star quality fertilizer. So basically you will require 36 points or units of fertilizer each in order to get these up and running. So I'll just speed up the footage here to get these farms up and running, and I'll talk to you guys once that has been done. So 12 points for tier 2, 12 points for tier 3, and the same process for the rest of the 2. Now, it's actually kind of difficult to have exactly this number, because whenever you are creating fertilizer, I think you are doing it at like 10 units. So you're gonna have to screw around with the numbers in order to have the exact things which you require. But I should have freed up some room here in the inventory, which was kind of crammed in with a ton of mushrooms, a ton of berries, and I don't see the cook doing anything new ever since we have done this. And unfortunately, I also do not see the potential to do any kind of a change for now. I don't have that many seeds here for now also, so I'm gonna have to do like a run in order to provide something for them to grow or stack up on. So we will see how this will change, but since I have done this, the happiness is steadily going up, and I want to see if we have any change when it comes to this. Okay, I don't see any newly added recipes, so let's go try and talk to Marquis. Maybe something will pop up in his menu. Offer to build an automatic well. Warn Theodore about Lady Beatrice. Ask about the camp development. Okay, let's see if there's anything new. Okay, so no. Let's go with the automation of the water well. I have a great idea. What would you think of an automatic well? That would be more than useful to us, but could you build such a thing? Sure. Okay, so let's go take a look at how much happiness do we require for the well to be constructed and what will be required. Okay, so I need to bring in some flitch, and this will take us 6 points of happiness. So obviously this is going to take some time to get fulfilled, but I have an idea of what we can do in the meantime. Yeah, sleeping was not the idea I'm talking about. Just give me a second, okay? I'm trying to save up the progress here. Okay, so this is the idea which I had. You will require to go to your church's workbench, and here is the Pagan Amulet of Spirit Summoning. This is required for us to do something in the dungeons which Gary talked about in one of the previous episodes. So in order for you to get your hands on this, you will require intestines, you will require beeswax, and you will require a piece of donkey hair. Now, the unfortunate thing is that beeswax is also a necessary ingredient when it comes to you crafting candles for your sermons. So this is why I also think that the Game of Crone is not an early game type of DLC. It's gonna definitely take you a while to get to some of those points, like 50 silver to the blacksmith or 50 silver to Clotho, and things like this will take you time. If you are not interested in making your own honey by giving the beehives to either the refugees or having your own beehive, beehives. Sure, you can be picking up the wild honey, but the problem with the wild honey is that the beeswax is highly unregulated and the drops of it are really limited. Plus also, if you do not have access to tech like the beekeeping, you will be taking damage if you are actually trying to interact with the beehives. And at the start of the game, that can be especially annoying. So the best way for you to actually get beeswax in larger quantities, I think it's the beekeeper, and he has like 17 as a max stack. So you can easily purchase those, but for that you will once again require cash. So let us go and begin crafting this Pagan Amulet. And now that we have this thing, let's just double check. Bring the Pagan Amulet to the final room on the 8th floor of the dungeon. Now when it comes to the dungeon runs themselves, some people will suggest you to create health potions, and I call a total BS on that. You can clear out the entire dungeons, even with not the best gear, such as the steel armor or the damask sword with a gem, just by having a massive stack of wine on yourself. The reason behind this is fairly simple. Let me show you. That is, if I have any wine here. Okay, so you can see that red wine will give you plus 30 health points and also plus 114 energy. So it's kind of a overkill in comparison to the health potion, which will give you only 50 points of health. And in order for you to make a health potion, I'm gonna have to go back to the alchemy station. Yeah, I kind of did not think this through. And I'm not really sure if it's the base table. Yeah, so you will require life powder and health solution, and you will actually obtain the alchemy recipe by interacting with someone. But at the start of the game, I'm not sure if Clotho will be able to provide you with both of these ingredients. Theoretically, we can take a look. Okay, so she has 2 units of life powder, and she has also the order and health solution. So theoretically you should be able to do this, or you can straight up purchase the health potion, but it will cost you 50 coppers. So it will depend specifically on your personal financial situation. When it comes to my financial situation, I'm down to only 185 gold coins, but I believe that can be changed by just simply going to the Talking Skull and grabbing the income from my own personal work. And as you can see, I don't tend to meditate while I'm trying to record the footage. What I do in the meantime is play around with the zombies, or brew my own beer or mead or wine. By the way, if you have a funny idea for a brand, please let me know in the comment section. I have been asking in my Stardew Valley 1.4 playthrough for like a couple of months now, and I just didn't get any response on it. Just please don't make it something offensive or a name like Bud Light or something which already exists. I'm looking for a fun spin on a name like, I don't know. Skull Beer sounds super weird. Maybe something else. But yeah, you can see that coming up with some decent name would be actually a fun thing. And that will be it for this episode. Now, we have mostly gone through the recipes. We have done some of the stuff at the refugee camp. I just realized I should do the upgrade for the automation of the water fountain there. And I totally forgot, are we at 6 points of happiness? Yeah, not yet. And I'm gonna also require that flitch, which I totally forgot about. So I'm gonna cut off the episode here. And this lady is totally making me mad by doing just one damn thing, and that is the lentil cutlets. I'm just waiting for this camp to blow up for someone farting too close to the fireplace. Maybe I'm gonna have to build like a fire station here or something, but yeah. I'm gonna probably publish another episode on the next week. I take the weekends off because I need to clean the apartment, do some cooking, do the laundry, you know, like real life stuff. And also I'm gonna try to record as much footage so that I have stuff for rendering for the next week so that I can supply you with even more content. So if you did like the episode, please consider giving it a like. It's gonna help tremendously with the YouTube algorithm, as YouTube is this massive popularity thing, and if you don't have enough likes or discussion in the episode, it just won't be pushed onto more potential viewers. And if you are considering subscribing to the channel, just please know that I'm publishing content on a weekly basis. I do mostly playthroughs, discussions, early in-game reviews if I find a title that I do enjoy, and some tips and tricks videos. I'm planning on doing additional content, but currently with the limited hardware, it's fairly impossible. So check out the channel in the meantime. I have over 400 episodes of God knows what in there, and yeah, that's gonna be probably it for this one. So I'm gonna wish you a pleasant rest of the day, and you know what, theoretically I can do the automation of the damn water well. Maybe that will trigger something. You know what, let's just keep it for the next episode, and at least you're gonna be looking towards something brand new on the channel or for the game itself. As some of you have informed me that the DLC is not yet on the consoles, so yeah, you might be having the same issue as me, not having good enough computer or just not having access to some tech. So we are fellow people with limitations in technology or financial situation, whichever it is. And I'm gonna shut up now. And I'm gonna wish you a pleasant rest of the day. Hopefully you're staying safe. And I will see you in those comments or at the next one. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.